Welcome to the Recover California Housing Program's Rehabilitation, Reconstruction, and Mitigation application. Today we will be going over how to complete an application from start to finish. We will begin by going over the program overview. Within the program overview, you can see how to apply for 2020 disaster assistance and 2021 disaster assistance, and who can apply to both of these programs. You will also learn what you can expect from the program, what rehabilitation and reconstruction programs are, what mitigation and retrofits programs are, and where you can find more information about the programs. Attached within your applications, you will find that there are additional resources and links to be able to find the program's policies and procedures. After you have read through the program overview, you will click Complete and Continue. This will automatically take you to the following page, which will be Preliminary Eligibility. Please note and make sure that throughout this application you complete every question. It is very important to complete every question because the software will not allow you to move forward if you do not complete a question in a section. If you need to save your information, you may do so by scrolling to the bottom of the page and clicking Save. This will save your place in the application. But to follow through and go to the next page, you will need to click Complete and Continue. Let's get started with preliminary eligibility. You will find a series of questions asking, how did you hear about the housing programs? Below, there will be a drop-down where you can select how you heard about the program. Next, where is the property you're applying for located? Is it within one of the following most impacted and distressed counties? There's a drop-down below of multiple counties to choose from. If you click a property that is not located in a listed county, there will be a stop sign which states that you are not eligible for the Recover California housing programs. To be eligible, your property must be located in one of the counties listed. Moving on, are you enrolled as a member of a California Native American tribe? If you mark no, you will go to the following question. If you mark yes, it will ask you to enter the tribe name. What year are you applying for? We have two program years. We have 2020 and 2021. You may select one of the following years from the drop-downs below. What types of projects are you applying for? We have three types of projects. We have the reconstruction of a home, we have the rehabilitation of a home, and we have wildfire mitigation retrofits on a home. You may select one of the following below for question A. At the time of the disaster, did you own the applicable property and occupy it as your primary residence? If you are an owner at the time, whether you occupied or whether you rented as a landlord, you will qualify. If you mark no, I did not own the applicable property, you are not eligible for the program. If you mark yes, I owned and occupied the applicable property, question A5 will appear. This will ask you, was the applicable property a single-family residence, including mobile homes or manufactured housing units? If you mark yes, you may move on in your application. If you mark no, you are not eligible for the housing program. Throughout this application, the program system will let you know if you are eligible for the housing programs. I'm going to mark yes here and click complete and continue to move on to the next section. This will be the contact information. Section B is contact information. This is the initial application. This is where the owner will place their contact information. You can be a primary applicant or you can be a landlord if applying for the 2021 program year. For B1, put your first name. For B2, last name. B3, mailing address. B4, phone number. And B5, your email address. Please notice that your email address is highlighted blue for B5. This is because the email put here in this section is associated with your user email on how you log into your Neighborly account. B6 is your preferred method of communication. Do you prefer email, phone, or mail? B7 is your preferred language. We have multiple languages to suit all applicants. B8, power of attorney. Is there any individual with legal power of attorney that will be assisting you in the future with this program? If you mark yes, this will leave a drop-down for a first name, last, phone number, and email. The reason this email is blue is because they may also be a user on the application. Section E is where you can upload your power of attorney document. If you mark no, you can move on to Section B9, Communication Designee. Some applicants may have a designee or a third party known as a communication designee to receive information about their program status. However, communication designees are not authorized to make any decisions or sign any program documents on behalf of the applicant. This question is asking if you have a communication designee that you would like to appoint at this time. If you mark yes, then again, a first name, last name, phone number, and email will be asked for. Then you can upload a communication designee form. If you mark no, you can go to question B10. If there is a co-owner or co-applicant, a name, first and last, a home address, a phone number, and an email and preferred method of communication will be asked for. There's also an additional co-owner applicant or co-applicant. This is if you have another person that you would like to add to the application. If no, you can move on to section B11. For B11, are there other owners of the applicable property who are not on the application? If you mark yes, this will ask for first and last name. Will they be living on the property after rebuild? Yes or no? And then add their address and phone number. If you mark no, you are a single applicant. You may move on to the next section. Section C, Household Members. As of today, you will list all of the household members. The primary applicant's information should be entered first as the primary household member. Please add the co-applicant as an additional owner-occupant as household member number 2. If applicable, indicate the relationship of each family member to the head of household, spouse, sibling, etc. In addition, indicate if there will be any additional members added to the household in the near future. If you are a landlord that is applying for the 2021 Single Family Mitigation Program, please complete the section with your current tenant's information. If an applicant is a landlord applying for the 2021 Single Family Reconstruction Program, please place future in the first name and tenant in the last name, and this will be the placeholder until you have details for your tenants. If you're applying as an owner-occupied applicant for 2020 or 21 programs, please just put yourself, the applicant as the primary household member, and all additional household members who live in the home with you. On the application, you will click here and add, for example, future, middle name, and tenant. So we're using this as an example, and there will be a birthday input here. You will go with a random birth date, and then we'll need to add an additional household member. You will click here to add a new household member, and the same information will pop up. You will also have an additional drop-down to say what the relationship is. If you click here on the plus button, you will see another drop-down. This is for demographics. That'll include information such as gender, race, ethnicity, marital, and relationship to the household member. Once done, we will select complete and continue. Okay, we will go on to D, income. Notice how as I complete the sections, check marks are completed. This shows that sections have been fully completed. So let's go on. Section D, income, is related to income if you are a landlord in the 2021 program willing to rent to low to moderate income individuals, and you are confirming program requirements as a landlord and providing information related to the tenant's income here. If the tenant is unknown, you will write tenant and the household member name in the text box. Section E, property. Here you will provide basic information concerning the property you are applying for, such as type of residence, the property address, bedroom and bath count, year built, and square footage. This would be the best estimate if unknown. There are yes and no response questions related to property ownership documents, such as having deeds, leases, liens, or deed restrictions, as well as if there is a current mortgage on the property. Please note that some questions will require additional written responses. Here we want to make note that if at any point in the process of the application you do not know the answer or have the documentation requested, you can press the Save button and come back at a later time to finish the application. The application will notate at the bottom of the screen when the application was last saved. Sections F and Sections G will be in reference to any assistance or funding that a homeowner has received as a result of a 2020 or 21 federally declared disaster. The Recover California housing programs may not exceed a owner's household's unmet needs, and as such, the funding from sources such as lawsuit settlements, insurance proceeds, grants, or subsidized loans, funds from local, state, or federal programs, and from private or nonprofit charitable organizations all must be accounted for during the eligibility and review process. Section F specifically refers to all funds received from FEMA and/or any SBA assistance received as a result of the 2020 or 21 federally declared disasters. If applicable, you will enter your FEMA or SBA identifying information here. As previously mentioned, Section G will also ask for funding that a homeowner has received as a result of a 2020 or 21 federally declared disaster. This section is specific to an applicant's homeowner's insurance policy or policies at the time of the disaster event, as well as any other funding received for the purpose of the rehabilitation, reconstruction, or mitigation of the home owned at the time of the disaster. Examples of this may include, but are not limited to, Cal Home Loan, CA wildfire mitigation programs, the Red Cross, and any church or nonprofit organizations. If applicable, you will enter your insurance information and any other funding received. Documents to show proof of funding will also be requested in Section G. Section H, exclusions, refers to costs that a homeowner may have incurred because of a disaster, including debris removal, temporary housing costs, repair of the damaged home, forced mortgage payoff, theft, vandalism, contractor fraud, or legal fees. In this section, you will notate if any of these are applicable to your application. A description of the paid expenses will be required, as well as include any evidence of the paid expense, such as a date-stamped receipt. Section I, disability. These questions are related to applicants in need of disability accommodations. Does anyone occupying the applicable property have a disability that requires specific design features such as a walk-in shower, grab bars, ramp access, etc.? If no, you can move on to I-2. If you mark yes, additional questions will be asked. What kind of features will you need in your reconstructed or rehabilitated home to accommodate you and your household member's disability? And you can choose from the following below. I-2. Do you require reasonable accommodation for your disability when communicating with the Recover California housing programs during the application process? You may mark yes. If so, what kind of reasonable accommodations are you requesting? If not applicable, you will move on. You can click Complete and continue to Section J. Section J is the rights of entry agreement, which an applicant must agree to and authorize. In this agreement, the homeowner understands that this right of entry form, ROE, does not create any obligation on the part of the assistance providers to perform inspections or undertake construction activities, but does unconditionally allow for the state construction management contractor and agents to enter the property for the purpose of conducting inspections and/or construction activities resulting from the declared disasters. Here you will select all of the boxes shown and then electronically sign this document. Section K, Fraud Acknowledgement. In this section, an applicant agrees to the fraud acknowledgement document. By selecting each box provided, the applicant agrees that any intentional or materially false or misleading written statements related to the Recover California housing programs could result in ineligibility for benefits. This agreement also states that the applicant has provided true and correct responses and understands any falsified or concealed information could result in fines or imprisonment, and any funds received by an applicant pursuant to the program shall be entitled to be recovered by the program if deemed necessary. Here you will select all of the boxes shown and then electronically sign this document and move forward with the application. Section L, Personal Information Release Authorization. This section is a form that authorizes the State of California, California Department of Housing and Community Development, their contractors, employees, and assistance providers to receive and release individuals' personal information for the purposes as described in this form as a condition of participating in the Recover California housing programs. Please note, any sensitive information will only be disclosed on an as-needed basis for determining a homeowner's eligibility and, if approved, any program activities and payments. And again, here you will select all of the boxes shown and then electronically sign this document and move forward with the application.
Section M is the Housing Counseling Requirement Acknowledgement. You'll notice this is a fillable form. One input will ask for your account ID, which is located here. This form is certifying that you agree to complete at least one housing counseling session before the final delivery of the completed property. You will fill out basic information such as applicant's first and last name, as well as the damaged property address. After completing these, electronically sign this document and select Complete and Continue. Section N is the Program Required Documents. This section includes documents that will be required in order to determine eligibility for the program. If you do not upload the documents requested in all of the below sections, a case manager will contact you to secure an alternative method to receive the documents. This will result in a longer review process. You will then upload the requested documents for each section. The first section asks for a valid government-issued photo ID for the applicants and co-applicants, if applicable. The next category refers to proof of federal benefits. One of the following can be uploaded to support this section and are listed here A through G. The following category is the proof of primary residence and occupancy at the time of the disaster. Again, only one of the listed items from A through F here will be required. Moving on to the next category, it is to show proof of current occupancy that is required for both the mitigation and reconstruction program. Examples of items that can be provided as proof of current occupancy are listed here from A to E. The next section will be the Proof of Ownership section for stick-built homes. The list of accepted documents are listed from A to D here. For MHUs, the list is here for also A to D, and again, only one document from these lists are required to be uploaded. The below 3 hyperlinked forms will be needed to be downloaded and filled out and then re-uploaded to the application done electronically. Here we will show you an example of this by clicking on the blue hyperlink, and it will automatically download the fillable document to your computer. After you complete the form, re-upload this document to the application. Once all of your documentation has been uploaded, you may click Complete and Continue and move on.
This will now take you to the final page of the application. Submit the application. Once an application is submitted, it can only be reopened by the administrator. You will need to check all boxes shown to be able to sign and submit the application. You are signing that you understand that the information on this application is to be used to determine eligibility for the Recover California housing programs. You certify that the statements are true and complete to the best of your knowledge. You agree to provide any documentation needed to assist in determining eligibility and are aware of all of the information and documents provided are public record. You understand that providing false representation constitutes an act of fraud. False, misleading, or incomplete information may result in denial of program eligibility, the repayment of any funds received through the program, or other remedies available under law. You understand that if you have begun rehabilitation, reconstruction, or mitigation work on the applicable property prior to submitting this application, you are required to stop work once you submit this application. You understand that if you do not comply with the requirement to stop work, you will be deemed ineligible for program assistance. The last question is, are you a landlord applicant? You will then answer this question accordingly and follow the drop-down selections. If no, continue to the electronic signature link and sign this document. You will then submit this application if you are certain you have no other corrections that you'd like to make from previous sections.
We would also like to note that if you are applying for the mitigation program, your application will be placed on a wait list. Also of importance, you must press the submission button for the review of your application to begin. Congratulations! You have now completed the Recover California Housing Programs application. If you need any additional assistance, please reach out to your case manager as assigned. For questions related to your application, please call 916-202-1764. Thank you. Have a great day.